아침 뉴욕 타임즈 화요일 날짜입니다. Women and Leadership, Change Agents. A financial administrator with a deteriorating sight seeks help at an advocacy organization for visually impaired people and rises to become its chief executive. A former government spokeswoman with a love of cooking started a restaurant to train refugees in culinary skills. A Lao weaver hoping to preserve a traditional craft create a way to support it. 7 women from around the world explain how they took their passion and concern and turned them into action. The interviews were edited and condensed. Wow. Kelly Brody, Refugee Training Program. Kelly Brody, 33, was a student at the International Culinary Institute in 2016 when she founded Emma's Torch, a restaurant training program for refugees, asylum seekers, and victims of human trafficking who have work authorization in the United States. The only way forward, coexistence for Israelis and Palestinians is possible and is the only alternative to violence. To make that choice, Israel must jettison the government of Mr. Netanyahu, which has steadily worked against a settlement with the Palestinians. Jettison. Should big tech get to write the rules of the digital economy? The Biden administration isn't letting the tech giants write the rules of global trade. That's good. While some of this agenda is reasonable and is good for the world, too much regulation stifles innovation. Adopting this agenda wholesale would risk cementing the advantages that big American tech companies already enjoy and permanently distorting the market in their favor. $55 million for a series, but not a single episode. In a sci-fi project about artificial humans, how Netflix went big and the lost. Mr. Lynch went back to making commercials. On the side, he and his wife, a Uruguayan model and fashion designer, Gabrielle, began working on a passion project, a sci-fi TV series about a genius who invent a human-like species called the organic intelligent. After shooters flocked to a filmmaker's concept, the winner handed over money and rare control. They are still fighting. Talk to me. At the risk of sounding mawkishly positive, I think I've discovered a cheap, simple fix for our frank's social, emotional, and political health. Rhetorical training is tantamount to installing the operating system for adults' social life. The witch hunt underway in Russia, expressing feminist views in Russia, is now an increasingly dangerous thing to do. In praise of 2023's scientific discoveries, artificial intelligence has its scary aspect. But in this case, it's doing something unquestionably good. The only way forward. The river to the sea extremist Those who ecstatically call for the eradication of the other cannot play a constructive part. The world lags in weaning itself off fossil fuel. Renewable electricity usage is growing, but carbon emissions are still rising. The trajectory of neither the United States nor the EU is on track to meet the world's 1.5 degrees Celsius climate goal. Yes, it's a workplace, but it's got the style. Companies hope design will make employees feel more at home on the job. It's taking cues from home, from hospitality, from Pinterest. We wanted the office to underline that. The Beatles chart a bleak future for pop, a world of endless reboots and rehashes where no golden goose stops at the lane. Most of the AI conversation has been about new material. The song points toward the non-stop mining of existing treasures. New help on map apps for long-distance drivers. Updated from Google and Apple can help you find efficient route, locate charging station, or save a map for offline use. The ruinous cost of elder care in America. With no coherent system, aging people are seeing their life savings disappear, draining their savings. Among Americans who had $171,000 to $1.8 billion in savings at age 65, those with great long-term care need were much more likely to deplete their savings than those who did not need long-term care. The U.S. devoted a smaller share of its gross domestic product to long-term care than do most of the wealthy countries. Rome is a candidate for Expo 2030, Human Land. People and territories imagining new habitats, all roads lead to Expo Rome. Florida governor faces top call on cruise ships. Major donor to DeSantis wants to expand the port. Some activists are opposed. Governor Ron DeSantis has received nearly $1 million in campaign donation from the pier's owner. The cruise industry, meanwhile, quietly funded a campaign against the 2020 ballot measures. The Miami Herald reported, warning residents that a reduction in cruise ship revenues could lead to drastic cuts in policing and other public services. Frustrated members of Congress headed for the exit. 3 dozen incumbents have announced they will not run again next year. He announced his retirement last month after more than a quarter century in the House. I think I can have more impact on a number of things I care about if I'm not going to be bogged down for re-election, Mr. Blumenauer said. Acapulco's hurricane hangover. A lack of power can also lead to contaminated food. Ominous start to Australia's fire season. But she went home changed. Before it was never something that entered your mind, she said, and now it's made me very prepared. All this complication to immigration plan. Still, even the government promise of new legislation could weaken the Good Friday Accord, according to these experts. Ichiro Suzuki is still playing at 50. Japanese baseball star dedicated to promoting game among the amateurs. In retirement now, I'm in search of a different joy, the joy of playing with the people who simply want to be the best they can. He added, I want to go back and rediscover the purity of the joy this wonderful game can provide. Israeli bombs have taken a heavy toll. Most reported deaths are women and the children. Women and children account for nearly 70% of all deaths that have been reported in Gaza since October 7th, even though most combatants are men in past clashes. Men were more likely than women and children to be killed. Desperate struggle for a little food and water in Gaza. With no fuel or electricity, Palestinians face a daily ordeal to eat and survive. Our strategy right now is how to survive for the longest period possible, he said. Buena Vista Social Club enjoy a new life. The 1997 Cuban album was a bestseller now. It's an off-Broadway musical. The show dramatized the making of the album and recreated the pre-revolution, golden age 1950s Cuba of the musician's youth. Oversized ambition, writ large on screen. A Ridley Scott film charting Napoleon's rise and ruin is an eccentric spectacle. I flashed on Karl Marx's axiom about history being forced tragedy and then farce. Masterwork that marked the past 2 days of delight. Two paintings reunited after at least 400 years star in a revelatory show. They let us witness the moment when marveling and pondering became the most natural things to do in front of a certain object. Bill Gates says he's doing good. This also disagrees. The Bill Gates of the problem, reckoning with the myths of the good billionaire. It is profoundly undemocratic and entrenches inequality, Schwab argues. Therapy at the saloon in West Africa. Hairdressers are receiving training as counselors to help fill a critical gap. Yet many of those coming to see us do so as a last resort, after they've been stripped of their money by traditional healers and scammers. Migrant Venezuelan inject new life into Cambodian baseball. My kids maintain that contact with our culture, but it's also a meeting place for all of us. It's like having a piece of Venezuela here. The rise of remote work at the weddings. Guests with the flexible jobs are sticking around longer to extend the celebration. Having the extra time with the people was so valuable, especially waking up late Sunday and knowing they were still there. Help, I was denied boarding on a cruise aboard. That's why they often err on the side of caution, with the stress in this case on err. We had drama with the Cool and the Gang. The band formed in Jersey City, New Jersey, while its members were attending Lincoln High School, performed under several names, including the Judgex, before settling on Cool and the Gang in the late 1960s, a creative outlet for exiled Russian pop stars. For me, this is such an important feeling as an artist and lyricist freedom of expression. Napoleon ruffled French feathers. The country's critics called the film ragey, boring, and historically inaccurate. The French do not like an Englishman's rendition of Napoleon. In praise of scientific discoveries, around the world 2023 has been an exciting year, seeing fewer infection and greenhouse gases. Garbage does not forgive. Acapulco, Mexico, following a hurricane, roaches, trashy and illness overwhelmed Acapulco. A creative outlet for exiled Russian pop star, anti-war musician rebuild careers outside the homeland, appealing to the diaspora. Before Moscow's invasion of Ukraine, the Monet Toka was on her way to becoming a superstar in Russia. Big bombs have taken heavy toll in Gaza war. Assessment by experts show a rate of deaths with little historical precedent. But a review of past conflict and interviews with casualty and weapons experts suggest that Israel's assault has been different. That's reported in Gaza.